Welcome back, comrades, to the city of New Voxel Town. I hope you are having a wonderful day, and if so, let's get on with the video. The first building I'll be starting is the Oecumene building from San Francisco, and it's located in Market Street in downtown San Francisco. And it was the pre-planned building that I wanted to be in my city, but the plans that I had sketched it out for the city block didn't turn out so well, including it wouldn't have worked with the other buildings that I had planned later on in the video. So instead I moved it to a better location to work on it later. While I did that, I moved on to the high-rise building, at least working on the planning phase of it. And it was a bit challenging because drawing out the plans in my sketchbook to trying to build it in Minecraft is not easy because there's a lot of things that go into it, of course. So anyways, but I finally got the one shape right that can work for the city block. So I started working on the base and then also the second flooring. I also started working on the canopy for a little bit. Too bad we don't have glass stairs or slabs. That would be nice mojang, but it is what it is and I had to deal with it. So I moved it to the side because I was more focusing on the wall and the rest of the city block. So just to make sure that everything fits how I plan in my sketchbook. And now we'll move on to the plaza. Starting with the plaza, while I was working on the wall, which was supposed to be shops, but then it didn't turn out so well due to the space. I was limited and I wasn't sure if it was going to work with the rest of my plans. So instead I took inspiration from Vancouver, the Park Palace building, as my main reference, but a few changes I had in mind. And in order to work, I need to build the 1201 Kei Tower that is located in Sacramento, downtown, to make sure everything fits in the city block that I have sketched it. And although it has some struggles in some areas like the sides of the building and the entrance, for example, it was going well. I continued to do all the way to the tower itself, and then later on the side of the tower, with finishing off with the roof. So I'm not gonna say much, but it turned out really well and I loved it, and it fitted surprisingly into the city block. And now I can do the rest of the entire city block that I had sketched it for it. And since I was finished with the previous building, I headed back to the high rise and added a few more details before I got started on the interior. And I won't go into much with the lobby since it's the same things, since I'm repeating myself. Although I added a few things such as a second platform so people can eat and hang out. I also added some spiraling hanging lights in the lobby entrance and among other things as well. And since I was done with the lobby, I got started on the second floor, which will be the usual, the offices. And I won't say much here either since it's a repeat of myself, as well as building the parking garage underneath too. And since I was finishing the parking garage, you will see that I have finished the glass canopy that is the back of the building. Spots of the city block is the Plaza itself. So I got started on building the paths and adding a stairway up to the second level of the plaza. And once I was done laying out the paths, I got started on the bridge, which will connect from the other city block that I did a video on if you want to check it out, and crossing over to the new city block since it was in public space. And the process of it wasn't too difficult, but I did have some struggles on the actual design of the bridge. And one came into mind that I remembered the bridge in Denver will work perfectly. So I made a few adjustments to it that can work for the area, and I began working on the design. And after a while, I was nearly finished with the planning phase of the bridge development. Once I was satisfied, I moved on to the plaza itself again, and the process did take a while to figure out how I wanted to look. I took some more inspiration from the Park Palace from Vancouver and did the front of where the bridge was, adding a similar landscape to the real life one, adding seats and decorations, and including the wall fountain itself, and a lot more, as you will see in the video. Now the landscape, I got started on how I wanted to do the landscape, so I researched and looked at some videos, see how they plan their flower beds and landscape in general, so that I could try to implement it into Minecraft. I designed the area out of wool where the bushes, trees, and flowers would be. Once that was done, I got started on placing all type of trees, custom trees and bushes, and small palm, pine trees, and flower trees later on. Then the main tree I've been saving for it is the Italian stone pine tree. And as you will see from the photos, I have taken real life pictures and used Google Images of how to build a tree. And although it was challenging, it was my first time building on this type of scale, but it turned out very well and I'm very happy with the results of it. I also lastly added a lilac tree for the finishing touches. And then came back to the Plaza's ground floor and added more trees but less branches. It was time consuming because I want each tree to be unique, but although it was well worth it. And in the end, I lastly finished the plaza by changing the stone to shrifted jungle logs, and it was to complete the plaza entirely. Then I move on to the small building, which will be between two buildings I'm currently working on. And I don't have much to say since there isn't too much to talk about besides a few details such as the roof and entrance and the left side of the building, which will be an exit door. And the building on the left, if you will see, is the building created by Frankie, which I asked him to build from New York City, and it turned out very well and it fitted perfectly too. And once that was done, I went back to the office high-rise building and trying to design the rest of the building with a few more angles near the top. And the roof I based on the real-life Vancouver Park Palace, but there was no way I could build the whole entire roof by reference, so I took key parts that stood out to me, which you will see. I put the rail on the roof of the building. I added HVAC too, and among other things. And the crane itself was a challenging process since it was at first I had to build at a 90-degree angle and then had to ask a few people to give advice on it. And once I was satisfied, I turned the crane rotated the crane to a 45-degree angle, added a few more details, including fixing some parts on the crane that looked too odd. And once I was satisfied with the crane, which was more painful than I realized, stacked the floors to fully complete the building fully, and changed the cyan wall to cut sandstone. And for the ground floor level, I added planters along the sidewalk and trees too. And that's the whole city block done. Hope you guys enjoyed the process of this city block, and hopefully it did inspire you. All the information and junk is linked down in the description, so make sure you check out our Discord server too. Let me know which part is your favorite part in the video and which building is your favorite as well. Anyways, thanks for watching and stay tuned for more, and let's continue to grow our empire. God bless.